Karen's HOA never seemed to grasp the simple principle of boundaries. This time, they planned an audacious camping trip, 21 guests, right on my property. They assumed it would be a fun, harmless incursion, unaware that my land wasn't just farmland, pasture, and lakefront. It was also a highly secured fortress with 50 legally registered guard dogs patrolling, trained to protect the property without endangering humans unless provoked. It started innocently enough, or so they thought. Early in the morning, SUVs and minivans approached my gates, loaded with tents, coolers, and camping gear. Karen strutted at the front, clipboard in hand, instructing her guests to find a clearing near the old oak grove. She imagined themselves enjoying the scenery while subtly demonstrating HOA control. They were wrong. As the first vehicle crossed the threshold, motion sensors triggered soft, warning barks from the periphery. Within seconds, the perimeter lights activated, illuminating the area with a gentle glow. The dogs, trained in patrol formation, emerged in precise, non-aggressive postures, encircling the intrusion points. Karen's guests froze, unsure whether to proceed or retreat. Karen, of course, ignored the signs. "They're just dogs," she scoffed, waving her hands dismissively. "We're here for a weekend adventure." She had never dealt with trained protective dogs. The first time a dog barked a warning just a foot from her ankle, she jumped back and tripped over a cooler. A second bark, closer and more commanding, sent her clutching the nearest tree. By the time the third dog, a German shepherd, circled the perimeter silently and positioned itself at a key exit, panic had set in. My son, stationed in a nearby lookout tower, watched the entire approach via night vision cameras. He activated a pre-planned auditory deterrent. Hidden speakers played recorded growls and commands, reinforcing the dogs' positions and making the area feel like an impenetrable fortress. Karen's guests scattered in confusion, some stepping into harmless but strategically placed puddles and mud, slipping and sliding as the dogs maintained safe but imposing formations. The comedy of errors was glorious. Tents collapsed under minor missteps, coolers toppled, and Karen's clipboard was drenched. She shouted instructions, but the dogs, trained to respond only to my commands, ignored her entirely. Each of her guests stumbled back toward the entrance, and every movement was captured on high-definition cameras from multiple angles. Every slip, flinch, and frustrated gesture was documented. By mid-morning, the HOA's camping adventure had dissolved into chaos. Vehicles were repositioned frantically as Karen attempted to salvage order. She tried to assert authority, demanding the dogs be called off. My son calmly activated the control system to recall the dogs only after ensuring the guests were safely beyond the main perimeter, keeping them unharmed but thoroughly intimidated. After the evacuation, I sent a friendly, legally worded notice to Karen. Trespass on private property is not tolerated. The safety systems, including guard dogs, are legally documented and enforced. Any future attempts will be recorded and submitted to local authorities. The notice included screenshots from the cameras showing every intruder, vehicle, and tent mishap, humorously captioned for clarity. The event became legendary in the neighborhood. Residents laughed, shared the video widely, and finally understood the magnitude of Karen's audacity versus the preparedness of my property. The HOA had assumed a simple camping trip could go unchallenged. Instead, it turned into a public spectacle, demonstrating that property rights, strategic deterrence, and lawful preparedness far outweigh arrogance and entitlement. By evening, my land was calm. The dogs returned to their kennels, the perimeter lights dimmed, and the cameras logged one last overview of the cleared property. Karen's HOA had learned a critical lesson. Trespass, even with numbers and intent, is no match for preparation, strategy, and disciplined defense. The 21 guests would remember this day forever, and Karen's reputation as a confident manipulator was permanently dented. The moral was simple. Property rights are serious, and preparedness is everything. Attempt to trespass with arrogance, and the consequences are immediate, overwhelming, and unforgettable, lessons Karen and her HOA would never forget.